It's late again. Too late for coffee. Too early for sunrise. The world outside is quiet, but your mind, not so much. You didn't ask for this kind of night, the restless kind. Maybe you've been lying here for hours, watching shadows move on the ceiling. Or maybe you've just slipped under the blanket, hoping this time sleep will find you first. But your brain is still spinning fast, loud, uninvited. Maybe it's ADHD, your thoughts bouncing from task to memory to imagined conversation. Maybe it's anxiety, that old familiar drumbeat in your chest. Or maybe you're just sad in a way that doesn't need a name. A heaviness you carry alone even in a crowded room. Grief, loneliness, trauma that still echoes. Or just the ache of another long day that didn't go the way you hoped. You're not broken. You're here. And you're not alone. So let's step out of this moment, just for a little while, not to escape, but to rest. Let's drift somewhere softer. Close your eyes, or don't. Either is fine. Let this voice carry you. We're going back, far back, thousands and thousands of years, to a time before medicine, before doctors, before words like virus or immune system even existed. There are no hospitals, no antiseptics, no emergency numbers to call. Just people, dirt, smoke, fire, fear. You wake slowly to the sound of breathing, ragged, shallow nearby. You're in a low shelter, barely tall enough to sit up in. The walls are woven branches smeared with mud. The roof creaks with the wind. The floor is hard, but covered in dry grass and old animal hides. Next to you, someone shifts, coughing softly in their sleep. Their forehead is damp, too warm. You don't have a thermometer, but you don't need one to know something is wrong. You sit there for a moment listening. The fire in the center of the shelter has gone to embers. There's a bowl nearby, water mixed with crushed leaves, bitter smelling. Someone said it helps. It probably doesn't, but it's what you have. You step outside. The air is cold and still. Mist clings to the grass like breath that never faded. Other shelters dot the clearing, some with flickers of firelight inside. A dog watches you from a distance, tail, still eyes, curious. You walk toward the edge of the village. A few figures are already awake. Someone is chewing bark and spitting the pulp into a stone bowl. Someone else is lighting herbs and waving the smoke over a sleeping child. No one rushes. No one panics. Sickness is just another part of the cycle. Sometimes people get better. Sometimes they don't. There's no medicine to trust, no rituals guaranteed to work. Only patterns, only memory, only care. And still they try. Not because they believe they'll win, but because trying is what makes them human. You don't know if the person in your shelter will survive. No one does. But for now, you can sit beside them, wipe their forehead, whisper something comforting, even if you don't know the words. And maybe that's all healing ever was before medicine, just being there. If this space helps you feel calmer, feel free to like or subscribe, but only if it feels right. There's no pressure here. This is a place for quiet. So, where are you right now? Are you in bed, curled up with one foot out from under the blanket? Are you lying on the couch still in yesterday's clothes? Are the lights off? Or is the glow of this screen the only thing left? Whatever shape you're in, it's okay. You don't have to be better right now. You just have to be. Breathe. Let go of your shoulders. Unclench your jaw. Let your thoughts pass like clouds. You don't need to chase them. Tonight we'll walk through a world that had no answers, just instincts, smoke, and quiet care, where sickness came like fog and people stayed anyway. Let's begin. Hey guys, tonight we're traveling way, way back, before Netflix, before kingdoms, even before riding into a world where getting sick was less about calling in sick to work and more about hoping you didn't die alone in a damp cave. You open your eyes to the scent of smoke and damp fur. Your throat hurts. It's dry, scratchy, like you swallowed sand in your sleep. Around you, the fire has gone to embers, and the chill of morning presses in. You try not to cough. No one wants to be the one who spreads bad air. You shuffle to a sitting position, groaning a little, and that ache in your bones, not from yesterday's hunt. Something deeper is brewing. You probably won't survive this. But hey, neither did most people. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Let me know in the comments where you're listening from and what time it is for you. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. The first signs are subtle. You swallow again, still sore. Your head feels like it's stuffed with wet moss. There's no mirror, but you can imagine the fever-bright sheen in your eyes, the dull weight pressing into your shoulders, and in your chest. A tightness like the air doesn't want to go all the way in. In the 21st century, you'd drink something fizzy, take 2 ibuprofen, and scroll your way through recovery. But here, around 40,000 years ago, your options are a bit more limited. The good news is you have fire. The bad news is that's about it. You pull your fur cloak tighter and step outside the cave. Someone offers you water in a hollowed-out gourd. You take it grateful until you realize it's from the stream, the same stream the wolves peed in last night, and someone probably washed meat in earlier. You drink it anyway. There's no concept of pathogens. Only cold water feels good. You're not alone. The others in your group are used to these things. Sickness is a part of life, like bad weather or saber-tooth sightings. One elder, the one missing half a nose and most of his teeth, tells you it's the spirits. Or maybe it's because you slept on wet ground. Or maybe the wind was angry yesterday. Interpretations vary. Historians still argue whether early humans had any concept of germs, or if illness was always seen as punishment, curse, or simply bad luck. What we do know is that most didn't reach old age, childhood mortality was sky high, and even a sore throat like yours could turn fatal in days if it slid into infection. Your body aches in strange places. Knees back, that soft place behind your eyes. You remember your cousin who got the ache last winter. He couldn't walk straight for a week. The healer tried to wrap him in fermented leaves. It smelled like bad cheese. He didn't make it. You cough. Someone flinches. Not dramatically, but enough that you notice. You look at the fire. You consider curling back up beside it, letting the warmth chase away the chill. But the smoke makes your eyes sting. That doesn't stop the others. In fact, one woman, your aunt, maybe sits directly in the thick of it, letting the fumes fill her nose. You've seen her do this before, when someone's sick. She believes the smoke will draw out the badness. It won't, but she believes it will. And in a time with no medicine, belief is 80% of treatment. Your nose starts running. You wipe it on your sleeve. No one notices or minds. Hygiene as a concept is mostly instinctual. You feel heavy. Your breath rasps. You sit on a rock near the fire, and someone tosses you a piece of dried meat. You chew slowly the salt, burning your sore throat, and for a moment, you're back in your body. Present. Not panicking, just enduring. That's what prehistoric healthcare was, mostly endurance. You wait. You rest. You eat. If you can drink. If you can sleep. If you can. And sometimes you get better. Sometimes you don't. A little girl toddles up and places a bird feather in your lap. For luck, she whispers. She believes it helps. You don't argue. You keep the feather. Later, when your head spins and you can't stand straight, you'll hold it tight and pretend the fever can't reach you while it's in your hand. Around you, life continues. The healthy hunt. The strong carry firewood. You stay behind wrapped in a fur. You share with another sniffling man who may or may not have the same thing you do. You don't ask. You just breathe. Try to. That night, as the stars prick through the black canopy above you, lie awake, sweating under the animal hide, alternating between shivering and overheating. Your thoughts blur. You see the firelight as a face. You hear the wind whispering your name. Is it a vision? Is it fever? You don't know, but you do know this in the world. Before medicine, before science, before comfort, sickness wasn't a battle. It was a test, and not everyone passed. The fever doesn't kill you in your sleep, which counts as a good start. You wake to the sound of wood being split outside the cave and the faint smell of burnt marrow. Your body's sticky with sweat, the kind that leaves your skin cold and clammy once it dries. Breathing still hurts, but now it's your joints that scream when you try to sit up. You do it anyway. There's no such thing as a sick day when survival's a team sport. Someone notices you're awake and brings you a lump of something mashed in a wooden bowl. You don't ask what it is. You just chew. It's sour, possibly fermented, and halfway through the second bite, your tongue starts to tingle like you licked a rock with opinions. You pause, look up. The man shrugs and mimes a thumbs up, well, his version of it. No one really knows what he just fed you, but it's warm, and that's more than yesterday. It could be a fever dream, or maybe it's the roots they boiled with ash and bark, an early form of medicine, perhaps. Historians still argue whether the use of herbs in prehistoric healing was intentional or just a desperate form of trial and error. You can imagine the conversations that one made grog foam at the mouth. Don't use that one again. As the day rolls forward, you try to help with simple chores, sitting by the fire, sorting bones, trying not to pass out. Your body's heavy, and your vision dances at the edges, but you notice something when you move your head. Throbs more, but your chest hurts less. Maybe the worst is past, or maybe the worst is just taking a break. Someone nearby coughs, and you feel a weird flicker of pride. It's not just you anymore. You're part of something, a mini epidemic, if you will, and prehistoric medicine really shines in group settings. Suddenly, smoke rituals are doubled. The healer starts muttering longer incantations. The meat is smoked harder. Everything that can be burned is burned. Grass leaves someone's sandal, and all that smoke pours into the cave like it's being used as disinfectant. And in a way, it is. Not effectively, not precisely. But accidentally inhaling wood smoke may have soothed some respiratory infections by reducing airborne bacteria. Or it may have just made everyone smell like jerky. You glance at the healer, if you can call her that. She's draped in animal hides and bits of feather, humming a low rhythm that sounds like a bear grumbling through a flute. She smears something black across a boy's chest and waves a branch over his head. That same black stuff was smeared on someone's wound last month. It didn't help. He died. But the ritual helped them let go. And in this world, sometimes comfort was the cure. There's a theory among anthropologists that even early humans recognized placebo effects, if not by name, then by outcome. You believe you're healing, so you do. You believe the healer's touch will help, so it does. A strange sort of prehistoric psychosomatic medicine. The tribe believes in her, and for a little while, so do you. By mid-afternoon, your head is a swirl of half-lucid visions. You see animals in the smoke, hear laughter that isn't there. Remember dreams you've never had. You lie back and let the world melt around the edges. Someone lays a warm stone beside you. Not hot, just warm enough to fool your skin into thinking you're being taken care of. The idea of fevers as burning out evil spirits is old, very old. You can almost imagine some ancient proto-physician shouting triumphantly, when your temperature spiked, the fire rises, the sickness flees. Meanwhile, you're sweating through your only tunic and wondering if your ears are supposed to buzz like that. Later, a young girl with nimble fingers ties a bit of braided vine around your wrist. For protection, she says. From what doesn't matter. It helps her sleep better. And maybe, oddly, it helps you too. Being sick in prehistory isn't just physical, it's communal. You're sick, but so is everyone who has to feed you, care for you, share their warmth with you. Your weakness becomes their burden, and their kindness becomes your medicine. You notice how people drift by you all day. No one lingers too long, but they don't avoid you either. They're watchful, curious. One man tells a story about a woman who coughed for a full moon cycle and then walked to the river and just didn't come back. Another tells you of a man who drank fermented honey and swore he saw the sickness leave his body as a green bird. That man later tried to fly off a cliff. Historians still debate whether hallucinogens were used as treatments or just recreationally. But here in this cave of smoke and whispers, everything is medicine, if you believe hard enough. Night comes again. You're not better, not really. But you're also not worse. And that's something. You sit near the fire blanket over your shoulders, and someone hands you a carved charm, roughly shaped like a bear, or a gourd, or maybe just a lumpy rock. You smile. They smile back. You go to sleep wondering if tomorrow your lungs will clear, or if your soul will be lighter and float off with the smoke. Either way, you're not alone. You wake, coughing. Not the dry, scratchy kind from yesterday, but a deep, rattling sound that seems to start somewhere around your spine and claw its way out. It hurts. A lot. You double over, blanket slipping from your shoulders, and for a moment, everything spins. Someone pats your back. Not gently. More like they're trying to shake the sickness loose. Your throat burns, your chest aches, and now one of your teeth is starting to throb. You prod it with your tongue, it's loose. Maybe it's always been loose. Maybe you're falling apart. But no one panics. The healer drops by again, smearing something cool and gritty on your chest. It smells like ash, and something mint adjacent, if mint had a deep hatred of your sinuses. She hums, while working, not even glancing at your face. You wonder if she knows what she's doing, or if she's just repeating what her grandmother did, and her grandmother before that. You'd ask, but your mouth feels like it's full of pebbles. Plus, talking makes the cough worse. You sit by the fire again because it's the warmest place in your world. Your legs ache too much to walk far, and besides, there's something strangely comforting about the fire's rhythm. Crackling, hissing, popping. It sounds like life. Or maybe that's just the fever talking. The tooth gets worse. By afternoon, it's swollen. You can feel your pulse in your jaw. Someone hands you a stick to bite. You don't ask why. Then a different man steps forward, the one with strong arms and too few fingers. He's holding a rock in one hand and a bone pick in the other. He smiles in what you assume is meant to be reassuring. This is not reassuring. Tooth pain in prehistory was often solved with brute force. No drills, no numbing agents, just leverage and hope. Historians still argue whether these early dental interventions were performed regularly or only in extreme cases. But extreme is exactly where you're sitting right now. You lie down. They brace your head. Someone whispers something like a prayer. You brace yourself for the impact. It hurts. Of course it hurts, but not in the way you expected. It's sharp, yes, and hot, and there's a cracking sound that feels like it goes through your skull. But then it's gone. The pain shifts. It's not better, exactly, but it's different, manageable. You lie back, breathing through your mouth, now half from necessity, half from disbelief. They spit on the wound. You don't want to know why. Later, someone brings you mashed herbs. You dab them into your mouth with your finger, grimacing at the bitterness. It tastes like dirt and regret, but you eat it anyway. Because even if it's useless, it feels like doing something. Throughout the day, people check in. A woman you barely know sits beside you and tells you stories about when she had a tooth demon. She was 9. They didn't pull hers. It just fell out eventually, along with 3 others. You ask what helped. She smiles, revealing a gap, and says, time. You consider the possibility that this entire society is just waiting out sickness, like bad weather. Huddle together, hope it passes, and mourn the ones who don't make it. There's something strangely peaceful about that. Tooth removed, fever smoldering in the background, you drift through the rest of the day in a haze. You hear things maybe real, maybe not. Laughter in the trees. Footsteps that sound too big. A bird that keeps calling the same note over and over again, like it's taunting you. The healer reappears around sunset. This time she brings a pouch of crushed bark and something that looks like burned honey. She paints a line on your forehead. You don't ask what it's for. You just close your eyes. It's hard to tell what counts as medicine here and what's just symbolic. The bark might have salicin, a pain reliever found in willow. Or it might just be tree dust. The honey could have antibacterial properties, assuming it's real honey and not some sticky root syrup. Historians still debate how much of prehistoric healing was effective versus coincidental. You lie back and wonder how your ancestors made it at all. No antiseptics, no sterilization, no refrigeration, just smoke spit and stubbornness. And yet, they did survive. Some of them. Enough of them. Because you're here, after all. And that means somewhere along the way, someone made it through the exact kind of misery you're feeling right now. That thought warms you more than the fire. The night deepens. You don't sleep well, but you do sleep. In bursts, between dreams of rivers made of teeth and caves that breathe. The fever hasn't broken, but the ache in your jaw has dulled. The air feels thicker tonight, wetter, but less cold. And in the moments between sleep and waking, you start to believe just a little that maybe you'll see another sunrise. You wake up and immediately regret it. Your chest feels like someone sat on it all night. Your nose is clogged, your eyes crusted, and your mouth tastes like a squirrel slept in it. The fire's gone out again, and the cave is filled with a damp, metallic cold that sinks into your bones. You shuffle upright, one slow inch at a time. Breathing is effort now. Not impossible, just deeply annoying, like trying to drink soup through a reed And as you sit by the pile of still warm ashes, someone places a bowl of hot liquid in your lap. You don't ask what's in it. It smells like boiled wood chips and something vaguely sweet. You sip it anyway. The warmth spreads through your chest like a memory. It might help. It might not. That's not the point. The point is, it's warm. Later, they burn more leaves. Thick ones with black veins and a smell so sharp it punches you in the sinuses. Someone waves the smoke directly into your face like they're trying to make you sneeze the illness out. You cough violently, but not from healing. From inhaling half a lungful of something that probably used to be poison. Historians still argue whether prehistoric people used medicinal smoke for genuine health reasons or just to mess with each other. Either way, you're now part of the experiment. They tell you it helps clear the spirits, or the air, or the brain. The explanations shift depending on who you ask. One elder believes in air demons. Another says the fire carries your sickness away like a bird. A third just shrugs and coughs into her elbow. You glance around and notice others doing the same thing, leaning into the smoke, breathing deep, letting their eyes water and their sinuses burn. Some even chant, low rhythmic tones that vibrate through the cave like a lullaby made of bees. It's not entirely pointless. Some of these plants contain compounds that, when burned, might actually kill bacteria in the air. But nobody here knows that. They just know it smells terrible and makes them feel different. And different is better than helpless. You're led outside for fresh air, or rather, fresher air, since most of it still smells like charred herbs and wet animal skin. The sky is a dull gray, the kind that promises either rain or existential dread. You sit on a log, wrapped in a fur that's seen better centuries, and watch the river crawl by. The breeze makes your eyes water again. Your ears ring faintly. You think it might be the fever, or maybe it's just your brain trying to hum away the discomfort. Beside you, someone's trying to make you laugh. He mimes, sneezing so hard he knocks over a mammoth. You manage a weak chuckle. It hurts, but it also helps. That's something they don't talk about much, the role of humor in healing. Even here in the smoke and mud, in the ache and mess, someone always tries to make a joke. And for a flicker of a moment, you remember what it's like not to feel miserable. You lie on your side that night, facing the cave wall. You trace the etchings with your finger, the ones shaped like animals and stick figure people. Someone carved those long before you were sick, maybe before you were born. You wonder if they were sick too, if they drew these while feverish, if it helped. There's a soft thud behind you, a pile of stones. Someone's making a new one, a small stack carefully balanced. The healer's doing it, eyes half-lidded, humming under her breath. She places the last rock, then sits still. You ask what it's for. To ask the fire to listen, she says. You nod, as if that makes sense. Maybe it does. When darkness falls again, you're given a pouch. It contains something powdery and sharp-smelling. You're told to Sleep with it near your head. The idea is that the smell will chase away the illness, or attract good spirits, or confuse the bad ones into leaving. Historians still debate whether these early aromatics had any genuine therapeutic effect, or were just prehistoric potpourri. You don't care. It smells like pine and wet stones and smoke. It smells like trying, and trying is all you have. You sleep deeply this time, not because you're better, but because you're exhausted. Your body sinks into the dirt floor, muscles loose and aching. You dream of smoke that sings, of rivers that speak in riddles, of a version of yourself that breathes easily and walks without limping. In the dream, you're not sick. You're just quiet, just warm. And for now, that's enough. You don't wake up screaming, which feels like progress. Just a slow blink into the pale morning light, your body sore but not quite shaking. The world around you smells like damp earth and charred moss again. You try to stretch and instantly regret it. Your side cramps. Your neck cracks. But the fire is already lit. Someone is humming nearby, and you're still breathing. All signs point to not dead yet. But today it's not the cough that gets you. It's the cut. You don't even remember getting it. Maybe yesterday, maybe earlier. A thin slice across your forearm, like a claw or sharp branch, caught you when you were half dazed. You notice it because it's warm to the touch, too warm, puffy pink, and starting to weep, something unpleasant. You prod it gently. It protests. Here we go again. In the prehistoric world, getting sick was one thing. Getting hurt was another. Infection was the uninvited guest at every injury, and you didn't need a saber-toothed tiger to ruin your life. Just a splinter and bad timing. You show the healer. She clicks her tongue, the universal language of, this looks bad. She disappears for a moment, then returns with a wad of something green and fuzzy. It looks suspiciously like the stuff that grows on cave walls when it's been too damp for too long. She presses it to the wound. It's moss. Probably sphagnum moss, which modern researchers know can absorb blood and even contains mild antibacterial properties. But you don't know that. You just know it's cold and slightly squishy, and it stings less than you feared. She wraps it with bark and fiber. Your arm now smells like swamp salad and mutters something low while tying it off. A charm, maybe, or just a distraction. Historians still argue whether the use of moss mud or chewed leaves was science superstition or a little of both. But when you think about it, what's the real difference when both can save you? You're not allowed to move much today. Your body's too fragile. Your breathing too shallow. And now your arm has joined the rebellion. You sit near the fire again, watching the others. Children play a quiet game with sticks. Two women carry firewood. An older man scrapes something off a hide with a bone blade, and then he nicks himself. It's barely a scratch, but he hisses and immediately drops what he's doing. Everyone turns to look. There's a pause, heavy as stone, before the healer makes her way over, gently but quickly. She inspects it, cleans it with smoke, ties it with fiber. You realize then, wounds, no matter how small, are taken seriously. Everyone here has seen a cut turned into a fever, a scratch become a burial. You remember the boy from last season. He'd tripped into a thorn bush, nothing deep, but within a week, he couldn't walk, couldn't speak. By the time the fever broke, he was gone. They buried him with beads and a favorite stick, but still gone. You look down at your own arm now, bundled like a gift basket of the forest floor. It's already darkening slightly beneath the wrap, but it doesn't feel worse. Not yet. You stay close to the fire, not for warmth this time, but because the smoke keeps the insects away. Flies here aren't just annoying, they're little flying vectors of doom. Open wounds, raw meat, sweaty skin, they love it all, and they bring company. Tiny eggs, tiny problems, the kind that grow and squirm. One of the elders tells a story of a man who scratched his leg on a rock and didn't notice the maggots until he felt them moving. He survived, somehow. Claims they ate the sickness. You're not sure if it's a tale or a warning, or possibly both. Historians still debate whether prehistoric humans understood infection as a process or just treated every illness like an angry ghost looking for an exit. But maggots, they understood those. You can't ignore something that wriggles under your skin. The sun lowers, your arm throbs, but your head is less foggy. Breathing still hurts, but it's no longer a war, more like an uneasy truce. Someone offers you a bit of food, cooked root and thin shavings of dried meat. You chew slowly, carefully. The tooth is gone, the hole tender, but you manage. You think about healing, not the mystical kind, but the day-by-day, breath-by-breath kind. The kind that looks like sitting still, like swallowing pain, like sleeping with moss on your arm and waking up unsure if it helped or just made you smell like compost. Tonight they add a new herb to the fire. It crackles differently, sharper. Someone says it will make the air less heavy. Another says it pleases the forest spirits. Another just likes the color. It burns. You lie back your arm, pulsing gently, your chest still wheezy, but your thoughts clearer, calmer. You don't feel good, but you don't feel worse. And sometimes in this ancient world of stone and ash, that's the most you can hope for. The cough is back by morning, but it's quieter now. Less like a war drum and more like a tired knock on an old wooden door. Your body still aches, your cut still oozes, and your head still feels like it's stuffed with damp moss. But there's a rhythm to the misery now, a pattern. You know which parts will hurt when you move. You've made peace with the groaning. And then the healer shows up with feathers. They're tied together with a string made from sinew, dangling like a wind chime of birds that never learned to fly. She shakes them in front of your face, gently, slowly, as if trying to hypnotize your illness into leaving. You watch, blinking through the smoke that curls up from the fire, like it's trying to tell a story no one quite understands. She starts humming, that same low sound, half chant, half lullaby. Then she pats your shoulder and leaves. That's it. No herbs, no moss, just feathers and a song. And strangely, it helps. Not the sickness exactly, but the feeling of being seen, of being part of a ritual, even if it's one no one can explain anymore. Historians still argue whether these spiritual performances were early psychology social placebo or genuine attempts to bargain with unseen forces. But either way, they mattered. Because when everything else fails, ceremony is what's left. You sit in the sun for a while. Not directly just at the cave's edge where the light sneaks in. It warms your face. Your eyelids flutter. You hear birds. Real ones, this time. High-pitched and persistent, like they're arguing with the wind. You lean your head back against the stone and think about how little control you have over your body, over your healing, over the knowledge passed down in grunts and gestures, half-remembered cures and whispered superstitions. The tribe believes sickness comes from spirits, bad ones, unseen, lurking in the air or in dreams or in the eyes of jealous neighbors. You coughed twice last week and someone threw salt over your shoulder, just in case. You sneezed and 3 people said a blessing that sounded like a sneeze itself. No one wants to be blamed. Because if spirits made you sick, maybe it's because you did something wrong. Maybe you offended the ancestors, or walked through the wrong patch of forest, or killed a frog without asking permission first. You remember your cousin. He broke out in a rash once, red, angry patches all down his chest. No one knew what it was. They tried everything. Smoked roots, rubbed crushed insects on his skin, even buried him in warm sand for half a day. He didn't get better, but he also didn't get worse. So they declared the spirit appeased and never talked about it again. Sometimes not dying is the same thing as healing. A few kids wander by and stop to stare at your bandaged arm. One points, another pokes it with a stick. You shoo them away, but gently. They're curious, not cruel. Sickness is fascinating to them, like watching someone turn into a different creature. Fragile, slow, strange. You were one of them once, watching someone else cough and wondering if they'd wake up tomorrow. Now you're the one being watched. You remember how, when you were younger, you thought the healer had magic, real magic. She'd blow on a wound and it would close. She'd hum over a feverish child and they'd sleep peacefully. But now, lying here, sweating under a fur that smells like old soup, you realize the magic was endurance. She was there when people needed her, even if she didn't know what she was doing. She comes back again that afternoon, this time with a bowl. Inside is a thick paste, dark brown, flecked with something green and shiny. She tells you it's for the cough. You try not to ask what's in it. It tastes like sadness. But again you swallow. Because here, refusing a remedy is like refusing hope. Even if it does absolutely nothing. Even if it's just crushed bark and spit. The act of taking it is part of the healing, a declaration. I'm still trying. You watch her work on someone else next, a young boy with a swollen foot. He stepped on something sharp in the forest. She wraps his ankle in soaked leaves, ties them with fibers, and chants as she moves her hands in slow circles over his toes. He watches her like she's a goddess. And, for a second, you do too. Historians still debate whether prehistoric healing roles were passed down through generations, or if anyone with a steady hand and decent memory could step into the role. But in this tribe, there's only her. No one else seems to want the job. By nightfall, the pain in your arm is duller. Your breathing easier. You still wheeze when you laugh, but that's mostly because someone tried to juggle hot stones and burned their thumb. You fall asleep with the taste of bark still in your mouth and the faint rustle of feathers echoing in your ears. Tomorrow might be worse or better, but tonight you dream of warm sand, soft humming, and spirits too sleepy to bother with you anymore. You wake to the smell of something burning, which is normal. It's always something, herbs for a bit of root that rolled too far into the fire. You don't even open your eyes at first. The warmth is comforting. The ache is familiar now. You stretch cautiously like someone expecting betrayal from their own limbs. Your arms still wrapped, still damp, still swollen, but no worse. That's a win. You're slowly becoming background noise in your own sickness. People step around you now, not to avoid you, but because you're part of the landscape. One of the others. Not urgent, not dying, just sick. Today the healer doesn't bring moss or bark or honey. Today she brings nothing at all. She sits beside you and hums. That's it. No explanation, no gesture. Just the soft vibration of her voice moving through the still air like smoke. She taps her fingers against a hollow bone tied to her waist, lightly, almost lazily. It's rhythm, more than music. It doesn't have a melody, just a heartbeat. You wonder what this is supposed to do. Call the good spirits, scare the bad ones, lull your body into healing. Historians still argue whether music in early human communities was ritual comfort or communication. But here, wrapped in a fur that smells like someone else's sweat, with your skin tacky and your lungs still unpredictable, the sound is enough. You remember being a child and hearing this same hum when your mother was sick. You thought it was a magic spell. Maybe it still is. Just not the kind that makes people better. Just the kind that keeps them from falling apart. Later, you're brought a drink. Not water. This is something else. Thicker, darker. It's bitter, with a hint of rot and smoke. They don't tell you what's in it. You drink it anyway. It's a gamble like everything else here. Some drinks are made from fermented berries, bark soaked in hot water, or boiled roots. Some make you sleep. Some make you sweat. Some just make you gag. You've had all three. You wipe your mouth, hand the cup back, and lean into the wall of the cave. Your breath whistles slightly. You can feel the air moving through your ribs like wind through a cracked door. But you're breathing. That counts for something. A man sits across from you. He's older, scarred. His left eye is milky. He's chewing something and watching the fire. After a while, he speaks. You were almost gone 2 nights ago. You blink. Didn't look like you'd see the stars again, he says. Then he shrugs. But you're still here. Then he offers you some of what he's chewing. You politely decline. It smells like regret and tree bark. He nods. Smart. You both sit in silence. Sometimes that's medicine too. That night the wind picks up outside the cave. You can hear it humming through cracks in the stone like a low, bored animal. Someone piles more wood on the fire. Sparks drift up toward the ceiling and vanish into black. And then you hear it. A sneeze, not from you, from someone else. Everyone looks. The sneezer shrinks into themselves, pulling their fur higher. It's almost comical, as if sneezing out loud summoned a curse. You suppress a cough out of solidarity. You remember what happened the last time someone sneezed like that? 3 people got sick. 1 didn't wake up. There's no word for contagion in your tribe, but there's a deep understanding of it. Instinctual, a gut feeling that sickness moves from person to person like smoke in a cave. So when someone sneezes, everyone shifts slightly away. Not dramatically, just enough. You don't blame them. You used to do it too. You lie back and close your eyes, listening to the whispers around the fire. Someone says the spirits are moving. Someone else says it's just the wind. The healer says nothing. She adds more herbs to the flames, and the smoke turns purple-gray, sharp and floral. You cough again, but only once. Your arm still pulses, but now it's dull, a background ache, like a drumbeat 2 rooms away. You start to drift. You're not well, not yet, but you've stopped getting worse, and that in this world of early death and lucky guesses is almost the same thing as hope. You've made it today. Something. You've stopped counting. There's sunrise, there's moonrise, and somewhere in between there's soup. That's enough. Today starts with a new ritual. The healer returns, this time holding a bundle of something that looks like half a mushroom and half a scab. It smells like the underside of a wet log. She crumbles it into a bowl of hot water, stirs it with a twig, and hands it to you without blinking. You don't ask questions anymore. You drink. The taste hits immediately, sharp, earthy, and slightly fizzy, like tree bark left in a cave too long. Halfway through, your fingers feel warm. Then your ears feel loud. Then the cave seems bigger, or you've gotten smaller. You've just been given a mushroom, whether for healing hallucination or both, you're not sure. Historians still argue whether psychedelic plants were used to induce visions for spiritual insight or to distract from physical pain. Right now, you'd welcome either. You close your eyes, lean your head back, and let the dizziness fold you into itself like a warm cloak. The fire crackles louder. You can feel your heartbeat in your teeth. Images flash behind your eyelids, running dear firelight, dancing on water, your own face reflected in a puddle of stars. You hear someone speak, but their voice arrives late, like it had to walk through the woods to find you. Someone pats your leg. You open your eyes. The healer nods. You're done. The ritual is complete. Or the tea ran out. Who knows? You sleep. And when you wake, the fever has dipped, not gone, but lower, like a tide pulling back from shore. The hallucination is gone, but its echo lingers. You feel lighter, not healed, but cracked open, like something toxic left your body in a vapor trail of mushrooms and sweat. No one comments. No one needs to. The healer hands you a bit of roasted root and a chunk of charred meat. You eat both without complaint. Later, you see her giving the same mushroom tea to another sick person, younger, worse off. They scream during the ritual, loud and long. Then they sleep for nearly a day. You hope they wake up feeling as strangely emptied as you did. In the afternoon, someone drops a handful of plants in your lap and gestures for you to help sort. You blink at the leaves still fuzzy from the mushroom and realize they've given you work, not because they expect you to be productive, but because work is part of healing. You pick through the leaves. Some are soft and wide, others dry and prickly. Some smell sharp, others like moldy apples. You recognize a few from your meals, others from poultices. One from that time someone rubbed it on a boil and claimed it screamed. No one knows what's truly medicinal and what's just hopeful flora. But the tribe keeps trying. They test. They remember. They pass the knowledge on, not in books, but in gestures, smells, and trial by mouth. You set the sorted leaves aside, and someone thanks you with a grunt and a half smile. It feels absurdly good. Evening brings a different kind of quiet. Not the silence of sleep, but the hush of watching. Everyone's looking at the boy who sneezed last night. He's coughing now. Not badly, not constantly, but enough. You watch the healer take him aside. She smears something oily on his chest and places a hand on his forehead. He looks scared. You know the look. You wore it 4 days ago. You remember thinking you'd never stop coughing. You remember not remembering what it felt like to breathe without wheezing. And yet, here you are, breathing, sort of. You lie back, exhaling slowly, letting the smoky cave air tickle your throat. The fire burns low. The healer hums again. Somewhere nearby, someone drops a bowl. No one reacts. You trace the scars on your arm. The cut has scabbed. The moss and bark bandage has been replaced by a strip of clean hide. It still aches. But you can move it now without seeing stars. It's progress. You think about the mushroom again. Maybe it helped. Maybe it was a distraction. Maybe it just scared your fever into leaving out of embarrassment. Historians still debate whether early humans knew the line between healing and hallucination. But honestly, does it matter? If you walk away breathing, you call it medicine. You wake to the sound of someone screaming. It's not you this time. It's the girl in the far corner of the cave. The younger one, maybe 13 or 14, with wide eyes and a soft voice. Today her voice isn't soft. It's sharp, ragged, and full of terror. You sit up too fast and nearly faint, but you stay upright. Everyone else is already moving. You see the girl on her side legs, trembling, face wet with sweat. She's groaning now, not screaming. Deep guttural sounds that come from someplace beyond pain. One woman kneels beside her, holding her hand. Another rubs her lower back. And the healer is gathering tools. You know what this is: childbirth. And in prehistory, childbirth isn't a miracle, it's a gamble. There's no sterilization, no midwife's handbook, no way to predict what will go wrong or how badly. It's raw biology versus chance. If the baby's turned the wrong way or too large or comes too early, there's no one to cut, no one to stitch, no way to help. Just groaning, pushing, and hope. You watch from the edge of the firelight, arms still sore, lungs still a little wheezy, but suddenly your own suffering seems small. The girl is crying now, really crying, not from fear, but from effort. Every breath is a battle. Every push tears through her like fire. And still the women encourage her. Soft voices, soothing gestures, a cool cloth pressed to her forehead. Actually, it's probably just a wet piece of hide. But right now, it might as well be magic. You've seen births before. Some go fast, some drag on for hours. Some end with a baby crying and everyone cheering. Others end quietly. Historians still debate maternal mortality rates in the Stone Age, but even conservative estimates are grim. A bad labor could take both mother and child. Sometimes the baby lived, but the mother didn't. Sometimes the opposite. Sometimes neither. You've seen all three. The healer is working now. Palms, stained hair, clumped with sweat, her lips moving in an endless chant. She's not just helping the girl, she's performing. For the spirits, for the tribe, for whatever force might be listening. There are no tools, just hands, bark rope, maybe a piece of bone used like a dull knife if it comes to that. You realize your hands are shaking. You try to breathe deeper. Your lungs ache, but they fill. That still feels like a small miracle. The girl lets out another scream, this one different, sharper, urgent. The others lean in. You see the healer move quickly. The firelight flickers over her back, casting strange shadows across the cave wall. And then, silence. For a moment, all you can hear is the fire and the slow dripping of water from the cave ceiling. You think, no, not this time. But then a sound cuts through the quiet. A wail, not from the mother, from the baby, thin, high, furious. The women laugh, not loudly, just breathlessly as if they'd all been holding it in. The healer lifts something small and damp and squirming. She wraps it in fur, passes it to the nearest woman, then turns her attention back to the girl, who's slumped in exhaustion, but smiling. You feel your throat tighten in a way that has nothing to do with illness. You lie back again, staring at the ceiling. The child is alive. The mother is alive. For now. It doesn't always go that way. You remember another girl younger than this one who bled and bled. They burned herbs, sang, rubbed her hands. It didn't help. She stopped moving. And the baby never cried. They buried her near the river, the same river you used to play beside as a child. The place where the water runs smooth and cold and always smells like mint. Childbirth in prehistory was less a rite of passage and more a brush with death. You made it through or you didn't. There was no in-between. But this girl, she made it. Later that evening, you hear the baby squeak again. Not cry, just a small, surprised noise, like it's confused by its own aliveness. You roll onto your side, aching but calm. The cut on your arm itches. A good sign. Healing skin itches. You cough once, and it doesn't rattle. Your breath comes easier now. It's not perfect, but it's smooth. You're getting better, and so is she. You watch her hold the baby, just for a second, before the others take over, before the healer checks her again. But that second matters. In a world where life and death constantly bump elbows, every breath taken, every baby born, every cough that fades instead of deepens, that's a victory. You're up before the sun today, not by choice. Your arm woke you with a dull throb that had something to say. But instead of lying there in the sweat-damp hide, you've called a bed for nearly 2 weeks now. You sit up, slowly, carefully. And the world doesn't spin this time. Small victories. Your chest still creaks when you breathe, but it's quieter now. Less like a wheezy animal and more like a stiff hinge. You cough once. Nothing comes up. That alone makes you feel like dancing. You don't, of course. One wrong move and you'll rip your half-healed arm open. But the thought of dancing is back, and that counts. Outside, the world is waking. The sky is painted with a kind of purple that doesn't last long, just enough to remind you you're still alive to see it. A few others are stirring, poking the coals, stretching their limbs, cracking joints like branches under snow. You notice someone limping. Not you for once. Then the older hunter comes over, the one who limps permanently. He lowers himself beside you with a grunt and gestures at your arm. Still attached, you say. He snorts. That's the closest thing to a compliment he's ever given. He points to his leg. Bore. 2 winters ago. You nod. That's all the conversation needed. Then he leans forward and unwraps something from a leaf. Inside, honey. Thick, golden, slightly cloudy. He dips a finger in and smears some on your arm without asking. It's cool. It stings. Then it doesn't. Then it soothes. You glance at him, surprised. He shrugs. Bees know something. You think that might be the closest thing to a proverb this tribe has. Historians still argue whether early humans knew honey's antibacterial properties, or just noticed that wounds treated with it festered less. But they used it repeatedly and across cultures, which says something. You look down at the wound. The honey glistens in the light. You feel vaguely like a piece of fruit left out for bears, but it helps. Later, someone offers you broth, real broth, hot, thick, cloudy, with fat. You sip it with both hands wrapped around the bowl. Goes down easy. You close your eyes for a moment, just to enjoy it. The healer walks past, sees you, and raises an eyebrow. You're upright. Don't tell the spirits, you whisper. She smirks, then moves on to check the girl who gave birth. She's resting now, baby curled beside her, like a small, confused loaf of bread. You remember when your sister gave birth seasons ago. She tore badly. The healer made a poultice of boiled bark and chewed leaves. Your sister screamed. Then she slept for 3 days. Then somehow she laughed. You helped carry water for her back then. Now someone else does it for you. Today you try to help again. Just a little. Sorting kindling, nothing heavy. But it feels good to do something, even if your left arm is still wrapped like a festival chicken. Someone jokes that the honey will attract ants. You joke back that you're too sour for ants. They laugh. It's the first time they've laughed with you since you got sick. Before it was around you. Now it's with. A small but crucial shift. In the afternoon, another ritual begins. This time not for illness, but for gratitude. A fire larger than usual. Singing. Feathered charms tied to sticks. Children chasing smoke trails like they're catching wind. You're invited to sit close. They place a smear of ash on your forehead, not because you're healed, but because you're healing. It's a symbol. You're passing back over the threshold from danger to ordinary life. You look across the fire at the girl and her newborn. She smiles at you. It's tired, but whole. You think about all the things they do here. The smoke, the honey, the chants, the moss, the mushrooms, the guessing, and the enduring. It's not medicine the way modern people understand it, but it's care. And that maybe is the oldest kind of medicine of all. As the fire burns low and your breath comes easy and your fingers no longer tremble, just from being alive, you lie back on your bed of furs and ashes and cracked memories, and you realize you're not just surviving anymore. You're living again. The air smells of smoke and pine when you wake, better than rot and fever, which used to be your daily perfume. You sit up, stretch carefully, and realize with a jolt of cautious joy that your arm barely hurts. The cut is sealed now, scabbed over dry. A small miracle wrapped in honey and moss. You rise slowly. Your legs are stiff but cooperative. Your chest expands without squealing like a rusted hinge. The cough. Still there, but quieter, like it knows it's lost its spotlight. As you step outside, the ground is slick with dew. The grass sparkles. Someone waves at you. You wave back. And that's when you see her, the young girl from the cave, the one who gave birth. She's standing now, holding her baby, who is wrapped tightly in a swaddle of fur. They look ordinary, which is astonishing. You think of everything that could have gone wrong, how her screams bounced off the cave walls, how you half expected to hear silence after. But here she is, alive, exhausted, radiant, in the way only survivors are. You nod to her. She nods back. Inside, one of the elders is hunched over a pot of boiling something. It smells like onions, though you're pretty sure onions haven't been invented yet, or at least haven't reached this part of the forest. He stirs slowly with a carved bone and mutters a song to himself. You're not sure if it's part of the recipe or just habit. He sees you watching and gestures you closer. You're handed a ladle of thick stew root vegetables. Maybe some fish, maybe some animal that had the bad luck of limping. It's hot, it's nourishing, and it doesn't taste like regret. You eat like someone who hasn't been able to taste for days, which is exactly who you are. Afterward, you help grind seeds with 2 other tribe members. Your arm twinges a bit, but it holds. You work slowly, rhythmically, letting the stone do most of the labor. It's not much, but it's enough to feel useful. That's new. You remember when you couldn't even sit up without someone holding your head. Progress feels like a luxury now. Then you hear it. A cough. Not yours, not the baby's, not the girl's. A new cough. Deeper, rougher. You glance toward the far side of the camp, where one of the hunters is leaning on a tree, eyes glassy. He spits into the dirt. It's not just saliva. People notice. The healer notices. She walks to him, touches his forehead, frowns. Then she pulls something from her pouch, a bit of herb wrapped in hide, and places it in his hand. He nods, but he already looks worse than you ever did. You feel something twist in your chest. Sympathy, guilt, survival. In prehistoric times, illness spreads fast. There's no concept of quarantine, just proximity and luck. If someone's coughing, you move away. If someone's too sick to help, they stop being seen. Not from cruelty, just from instinct. You wonder if he'll get better. You hope he does. The rest of the day passes in chores and glances. People whisper the healer burns extra leaves. Someone hangs feathers at the cave entrance again. A few people walk in wide arcs around the sick man. It's starting again. And this time it's not you. That night you sleep lightly. The cave feels different now, not just because you're better, but because you're watching it from the outside. You're no longer the center of concern. You're part of the background. Again. Normal. But you remember. The weight of blankets soaked in fever. The dreams that twisted like snakes. The sting of moss pressed into open wounds. The taste of smoke and bark. The fear that you'd simply stop breathing and never know it. You dream of the river, cool water running fast and clear. Someone is laughing beside you, your mother maybe, or someone you only remember from long ago. You reach for a stone in the stream and it crumbles in your hand. The water carries it away. You wake to the sound of coughing Again. Not yours. The hunter. You roll over and pull the fur closer. Not from cold. From memory. You don't go near him. The coughing man, the one by the tree, he's moved to the edge of the clearing now. Not far, but far enough. You spot his shape curled under a rough blanket of woven grass and fur, turned away from the rest of the group. Someone left him food near his feet. Not directly handed, just close enough to reach if he wakes. No one talks about it. You sit by the fire, slowly carving a length of wood into something that might eventually be a spoon, or a spear handle, or nothing. Your hands remember motion. That's what matters. When you first got sick, they did the same for you. Water by your side, food on a stone, voices that drifted in, but never too near. Back then, you were too dizzy to notice. Now you recognize the pattern. Quarantine Prehistoric edition. They don't say stay away. They just don't come close. No lectures, no rules. Just instinct. If someone looks wrong, too pale, too sweaty, too slow, they become shadow. Caution grows around them like a silent fence. Historians still argue whether early humans had a concept of contagion, but evidence suggests they did. Skeletons found buried alone, sometimes far from the tribe, hint at exile, not for punishment, but protection. You watch from the corner of your eye as a child starts walking toward the coughing man. Her mother swoops in, pulling her gently back, shaking her head. No words, just understanding. The healer visits him at dusk. She goes alone with a pouch of smoke-hardened herbs and a skin of warm water. She doesn't touch him, just places the pouch at his side, speaks low and steady, then leaves without looking back. You help stack wood for the fire. No one says anything, but your effort earns you a few approving nods. It feels strange being upright helpful, unsick. You were him just days ago. You wonder how close you came to that same spot at the edge of the clearing. When night falls, someone hums. It's not the healer. This time it's the girl who gave birth. Her voice is soft, cracking a little, but she rocks her baby and the sound curls through the air like a lullaby made of smoke and ember. You lie on your side and listen the fire warming your back. Your arm itches beneath the hide bandage. The scab has tightened. You resist the urge to scratch. Sleep finds you quickly now, no longer having to fight through fever dreams or shallow gasps. You dream of fog, rolling thick and endless. But in this dream, you walk through it upright, breathing. When you wake, the hunter is gone. You ask someone, just with your eyes. A shrug, a glance toward the forest. You don't ask again. He might come back, he might not, but this is how it works. You heal, or you disappear. Or you half heal and stay quiet in the shadows for the rest of your days. There's no fanfare, just the memory of someone sitting around the fire and then not. You return to your daily rhythm, chewing roots, scraping hides, watching the clouds move like forgotten smoke across the sky. You find yourself checking your breath sometimes, just to be sure. Inhale, exhale, smooth, real. A woman laughs across the camp, loud and sudden. It startles a bird from the tree above you. You look up. The leaves flicker in the wind, and for a moment, everything feels light again. But there's still that spot at the edge of the clearing where no one steps. The food's been removed. The fur's gone. It's just grass now. Quiet. Flat. You keep your distance anyway, just in case. You're thirsty. Really thirsty. Not the mild kind where your lips crack or your throat feels dry. The deep kind. The kind where your body feels hollowed out like a gourd, scraped clean. You wake with a tongue like sandpaper and eyes that ache when you blink. Someone notices. They offer you water from a clay cup carried carefully in 2 hands. You raise it to your lips and stop. It's from the river. That river. The one that runs clear and cold just beyond the trees. The same one where people bathe, wash hides, clean cuts. The same one where animals drink and relieve themselves. Where people sometimes drop things, sometimes bury things. Where the water sparkles with life and risk. You drink anyway, because you have to. In prehistoric life, water is never guaranteed safe. There's no boiling unless someone thinks to do it. And even then, not everyone agrees on why. Some think heating water makes it stronger. Some think it kills spirits. Others think it's just a waste of firewood. Historians still argue whether early humans understood the link between dirty water and sickness. But there are clues. Some burial sites show people separated after plagues, and certain groups seem to avoid stagnant water. Instinct or knowledge, maybe both. Later, you hear a small commotion. A boy, maybe 6 or 7, has diarrhea. His mother wipes his legs clean with a bundle of leaves, muttering something under her breath. The healer arrives, offers a paste, some thick drink that smells of mint and charcoal. The boy looks pale, but alert. You watch carefully. You remember being like that once. Or maybe it was your brother, someone vomiting behind a tree, weak for days, until they weren't, or until they were gone. Gastrointestinal illness was one of the biggest killers in early human life. Not wounds, not predators, just water, and what came after. You help gather wood in the afternoon. Your body moves easier now. You're breathing shallow but smooth. Your arm is still bandaged, but the color's returned. You haven't coughed all day. You feel strong again. Almost. Then you trip. It's nothing, just a root, hidden beneath leaves. But your face hits the ground hard and you taste dirt. Everyone turns. For a moment, you're back in the past, sick-watched, judged. You push yourself up quickly, brush off the leaves, wave them away. I'm fine. They nod. Go back to work. Your pride aches more than your face. At the stream later, you wash your hands. Not because anyone told you to, just because. The water is cold, sharp. It numbs your fingers and leaves you blinking back tears. You drink again, less this time. Then you notice someone downstream, an old woman, crouching, scrubbing something dark and wet. Blood, you're not sure. It mixes into the current. You feel it pass by you in the water. You drink again anyway. That's what you do here. You survive one swallow at a time. Back at camp, someone tells a story about a man who drank from the mountain spring and never got sick again. Another chimes in. Because he never drank again at all. They laugh. Laughter is important here, not just for joy, but for warning. You lie by the fire as evening settles. The healer tosses something into the flames that makes the smoke rise blue. It curls toward the ceiling like a slow-moving ghost. You ask her, "Is the water safe?" She shrugs. Sometimes. That's the best answer you'll get. You sleep with a full belly and a dry mouth, dreaming of rain that never touches the ground, just hovers, waiting. In the dream, someone hands you a cup. You drink. It tastes like stars. It starts with a sneeze, not yours this time. You're fine, more or less. You were just stacking firewood, enjoying the sunlight bleeding through the canopy, when you heard it, sharp, sudden, too loud for accident. Heads turned, conversations stopped, and for one heartbeat, the entire camp held its breath. The sound came from the older woman with the crooked spine. You've seen her gathering herbs, humming to herself, walking slower than the rest. Today she sneezes twice more. Wet, messy, unmistakable. No one speaks, but everyone moves a little farther away. You remember what it felt like, the creeping isolation, the suspicion in people's eyes, the way your presence made others grip their children tighter. You're not sick now, but you feel her fear, like it's your own. The healer walks over calmly. She doesn't accuse, just touches the woman's forehead, watches her breathe, gives her a handful of herbs to chew. The woman nods. She's lived long enough to know the signs. She moves to the edge of the cave without complaint. No one follows. You keep stacking wood, quietly. That night the fire is louder than usual. People stay close to it, as if heat alone can banish illness. Someone adds extra sage to the smoke. Another mutters a blessing into the flames. You've heard this one before. A chant about wind that carries sickness away but leaves breath behind. You've said it yourself. Superstition, maybe. But it gives shape to fear, and fear loves a shape. Historians still argue whether ancient humans believed sickness came from within the body or from outside forces, evil spirits, cursed glances, moonlight on the wrong day. But one thing is certain, when someone sneezes more than once, they become a threat, and that threat must be managed. The next day, the woman's sneezing has stopped, but now she's coughing. Someone whispers bad air. Another avoids her eyes. You try not to look at her too long. You don't want to be the one who notices first, or the one blamed later. That's the thing no one says out loud. If someone gets sick near you, maybe you brought it. You remember when your cousin got sick and people said it was because she handled the dead bird without ceremony. Another time a man fell ill after crossing a stream during the wrong moon phase. They burned his sandals, just in case. You once watched a boy with a sore throat have his bed set on fire after he died, not out of hatred, out of fear. Now you see the healer painting lines on the cave wall with charcoal, symbols that mean protection or healing or don't come any closer. You don't ask which. You just add a log to the fire and sit down. The woman coughs again. The baby across the cave begins to cry. The girl who gave birth pulls her child closer. You're not superstitious, not really, but you wrap your furs tighter. Later that evening, someone brings up the word quietly. Witch. It's not a loud accusation, just a seed dropped in ash. The woman hears. She doesn't flinch. She just keeps chewing her herbs and staring into the fire. You wonder what happens if she gets worse. You wonder what you would do if it were you again. Would they whisper? Would they say the illness clung to you like smoke? Would they blame your dreams, your touch, or would they just stop talking to you at all? You don't sleep much that night. The fire is low, the smoke thick. Somewhere someone mutters a blessing in their sleep. You lie still, hand over your chest, counting each breath. In, out. You're not sick. Not yet. But your dreams are filled with people turning away, their faces smudged like soot, and behind them, always coughing, always coughing. By morning, the cave feels heavier, not colder, not darker, just heavy, like the walls are listening, like the air has settled on your shoulders and refuses to get off. You sit up slower today, not because you're unwell, but because everything feels a little off. The coughing woman hasn't emerged from her corner. Her pile of fur is still there, still shaped like a body. Someone left her water, a small strip of meat. Neither has been touched. The healer visits. She sits beside her, murmurs. Something touches her shoulder. Then she lights a small bundle of dried leaves and lets the smoke curl around the woman's head. The ritual is familiar by now. Smoke to soothe. Smoke to signal. Smoke as medicine. It's a kind of hope you can breathe. She doesn't respond. Not much anyway. She's alive, but drifting. Eyes unfocused. Chest rising and falling like she's counting down something only she can hear. The healer doesn't say anything when she stands, just leaves another handful of bark tea and walks away. You work all day, grinding seeds, scraping hide, splitting sticks. Your arm barely aches now. A low hum beneath the skin. You almost forget it was once a wound that felt like it might never close. But you don't forget the cough. You hear it twice during the afternoon. From the cave. Weaker now, rattling like dry stones in a bowl. One of the children asks if she's getting better. No, their mother says too quickly, then adds, she's resting. No one believes it. That evening the healer prepares something different. Honey, yes, but mixed with herbs you've never seen her use. Bright yellow crushed into a thick paste. She scoops it into a hollowed-out bone and brings it to the woman. You watch from across the fire as she tries to raise her head. She can't. The healer feeds her a little, wipes her mouth, sings. The same low, wordless hum that has comforted so many. You hum along without meaning to. Others do too. It's not a song for healing anymore. It's a song for letting go. Historians still debate whether early humans had a concept of palliative care comfort at the end of life, but evidence suggests they did. Burial positions, death rituals, even symbolic offerings all point to a recognition of endings and to the importance of soft ones. That night, no one says her name. You all sit close together, eating, talking quietly. The baby cries. A man tells a story about a fox that outsmarted a bear. Someone laughs, not loud, but real. Life doesn't stop for death. Not here, not now, but it makes space for it. When the fire has burned low and the night is curling around the camp like a sleeping animal, you slip into the cave. Just to look. She's asleep. Or very nearly. Her face is peaceful. Her hands are still. You place a small feather beside her, the one the child gave you when you were sick. For luck. You never needed it. Maybe she still can. You don't tell anyone. You just go back to your place by the fire, lie down, and pull the furs tight. You listen to the wind slip through the trees, and you wait for the cave to get a little quieter. In the morning, the cave is silent, not just quiet, silent. The kind that swallows sound. No rustling, no coughs, no distant humming. Even the birds outside seem to be holding their breath. You don't need to ask. She's gone. You see it in the way people move. Slower. Softer. A shared weight in every step. The healer doesn't say anything. She just walks to the edge of the cave and sits, her hands resting on her knees, eyes on the trees. No tears. Not here. Grief doesn't look like wailing or clutching the earth. It looks like turning your face away while chewing breakfast. It looks like sitting alone for a little longer than usual. It looks like placing a rock, just one on the pile near the stream where the others sleep. You help dig the shallow grave. The earth is hard here, stubborn. You take turns. No one speaks. When it's deep enough, they wrap her in furs, tuck herbs into her hands, and place a small carved bead on her chest. You think it was hers, or meant for her, maybe both. They lower her into the ground as the sun breaks through the trees, warm light stretching across the dirt like a silent blessing. No one says her name, but everyone knows it. Historians still argue whether prehistoric humans believed in an afterlife or simply honored the dead to keep their memory alive. But the care taken with these burials speaks for itself. This isn't disposal, it's reverence. You press the soil down gently, one handful at a time. Someone starts humming again, that same low, wordless song that follows illness like a shadow. You wonder if it comforts the dead or the living. Afterward, you sit alone, near the fire. Your arm throbs faintly, like it remembers its own close call. You press a hand to your chest. Your breathing is clear, deep, real. The healer walks past you. She stops, looks down. Her eyes are tired, but steady. You're well now. She says it's not a question, it's a declaration, a permission. You nod. That evening, the tribe gathers closer than usual. Someone brings out a handful of berries, dried and sweet. A child passes them around. You take one, chew it slowly, savoring the taste. It's tart, real, alive. The healer begins a story. It's not about the woman, not directly, but it's about someone old, someone who walked through fire, crossed rivers, healed others. It's not history. It's memory disguised as myth. You listen, not because of the story, but because of the quiet it builds inside you. Later, you fall asleep beside the fire, furs, warm stomach, full breath even. You dream of walking through tall grass, of voices calling softly from the trees, of the woman standing by the stream, her hair braided with feathers, smiling like she's not sick anymore. You wake before dawn. The sky is just beginning to pale. You breathe in deep, and for the first time in days, there's no pain. The next few days pass in a strange rhythm, part recovery, part routine. You work again, not for show, not out of obligation, but because your body lets you. You scrape hides with a stone edge steady now, arm firm. You lift wood without wincing. You chase a child who stole your leftover berries, and you actually catch them gasping, a little laughing, even more. You're better. Not invincible, not untouched, but whole, in a way you didn't think you'd feel again. And then it happens. Someone finds something in the water, a fish floating wrong, belly up, eyes cloudy, then another, and another. The healer frowns. The others stop drinking from the stream. You're sent with a small group to gather water farther upstream past the bend where the rocks are smooth and white, and the trees hang low like they're listening. You bring back what you can, carrying skins and scooped out gourds. It's heavy work, but no one complains. Everyone remembers the boy who vomited for 3 days last winter. He didn't walk again. Not really. You start boiling water now, not because someone told you to, but because it feels like something you should do. The healer doesn't stop you. She even nods, just once. Historians still debate when humans started boiling water, specifically to make it safe. Maybe it started like this, not from knowledge, but from pattern, from loss, from watching what went wrong and doing anything to change it. The water tastes like smoke, but it doesn't make anyone sick. That's enough. You help dig a new trench near the camp, a channel to guide runoff away from where the food is stored. It's messy work, and you end up covered in mud, but it's worth it. You're investing in the future now, not just surviving the present. That night, someone builds a new rack for drying meat higher off the ground, safer from bugs. Another person gathers stones to build a new hearth. Small changes, intentional ones. Healing has spread beyond bodies. It's changed behavior. You're not just recovering, you're adapting. That realization settles in your chest like a warm coal. Quiet, steady. Later by the fire, a child asks you how you got better. You think about it for a moment. You don't say the moss or the honey or the mushroom tea. You say, I didn't do it alone. They nod solemnly, as if they understand. Maybe they do. The healer walks by and the child scampers over to her, asking if they can help collect herbs tomorrow. She smiles, small but real. You sit back and watch the smoke rise, curling into the night like a message no one knows how to read. The stars blink overhead, quiet and ancient. You're not the same as you were before the fever. You're slower now, quieter, but also sharper. The memory of illness hasn't faded, it's stitched into you now, like a scar, a quiet teacher. You pull your furs around your shoulders and listen to the fire pop and sigh. You don't cough, you don't shiver. You breathe deep and full, and you don't take it for granted. Not anymore. The wind changes, not in a dramatic storm on the horizon kind of way, but in that subtle shift you only notice when you've been still long enough. It carries the scent of something new, ripe berries, maybe, or decaying leaves, or both. A reminder that the seasons are shifting. That time, like your breath, keeps moving. You're mending a basket when it happens. The girl who gave birth, she sneezes. Once, twice, then a cough. A deep, chesty one that you recognize instantly. The sound of the beginning. Everyone freezes for half a second. Even the birds seem to pause mid-call. The baby in her arms squirms. She pats him gently, then clears her throat and waves a hand as if to say, it's nothing. But you see the flash of worry in her eyes. It's never just nothing. The healer is already making her way over, pouch at her side. Expression unreadable. She kneels, touches the girl's forehead, watches her breathe. Then she checks the baby. He's quiet, but warm. Too warm. The healer sighs through her nose. A few people start gathering wood without being asked. The girl sits down slowly, holding the baby against her chest, eyes on the ground. She doesn't say much, just hums under her breath. The same tune you heard her sing 2 nights ago. You don't know if it's a lullaby or a prayer, maybe both. You remember the first days of your sickness, how small you felt, how uncertain, how the line between I'm just tired and I might die was so thin you could step over it without noticing. You set your basket aside and walk over. You don't say anything at first, just sit beside her. Then softly, you'll get through it. She doesn't look up, just nods. I did, you add. She glances over. You weren't holding a baby. Fair point. But you also didn't have as many people checking in. She has that now. You see 2 others bringing water. Another one offers her a carved piece of root to chew. The tribe moves like a body, slow, careful, but coordinated. It's not panic, it's memory. Everyone remembers what happened last time. The woman, The coughing man, the grave by the stream, the songs. You think about how illness used to spread faster than fire. One person sick meant 3 more within days. But now people space themselves without being told. Hands are washed in boiled water. Cups are not shared. Food is passed with long sticks instead of fingers. You're learning together. Historians still debate when humans began understanding disease as a pattern. But in moments like this, you feel that understanding forming. It's not theory, it's practice. Not science, but lived memory. The baby whimpers. The girl shifts him against her, trying to soothe. The healer hands her something, another mushroom tea maybe, or the sticky black paste that tastes like burnt rain. She drinks without protest. She's tired, but willing. That night you sleep lightly, listening for coughs. There are a few, but not many. You wake just before dawn. The girl is sitting up, bundled in furs. Baby, still asleep. She looks tired, but not worse. She meets your eyes and gives a small smile. It's not confidence. It's something better. Recognition. She knows you've walked through this too, that the path she's on is hard, but not empty. You return to your work with steady hands. The basket you were mending is nearly done. You reinforce the edge. Make it stronger. Like you. Like all of you. You didn't expect to laugh again so soon, but you do at midday while watching 2 children chase a lizard through the tall grass, their shouts high and wild, the lizard equally determined to escape the chaos. One of the kids trips. The other stops to help, both giggling hard enough to bring tears to their dirt-smudged faces. The sound cuts through the air like sunlight after weeks of clouds. You glance over at the girl and her baby. She's awake, upright. The baby's cheeks are pink, not from fever, but from squirming against her shoulder, like he's already tired of being still. She coughs once, but it's dry, controlled. She sees you watching, nods, not gratitude, solidarity. You spend the afternoon making dye-crushing berries, mixing clay, smearing the thick colors on dried bark. Not because anyone asked, just because your hands need something to do. It's the first time since your sickness that you've made something beautiful. Not useful, beautiful. Someone else joins in, then another. By dusk, you've got enough painted bark to hang along the cave entrance like a garland. The children hang beads between the strips. It serves no purpose, except it does. Joy here is part of recovery. So is doing things for no reason other than feeling alive again. The healer watches it all with a faint, amused smile. Her arms crossed, her expression unreadable but softer than usual. When she walks by you, she stops, gently touches your shoulder. Your cough is gone, she says. You blink. She's right. You hadn't noticed. Not even a tickle in 2 days. It feels strange to realize your body has moved on while your mind still hovers in that cautious space between getting better and what if it comes back. You exhale slowly, and it's smooth. That evening, someone roasts meat over the fire. It smells sharp and smoky, fat dripping into the flames with a hiss. You haven't been hungry like this in weeks. You eat with both hands, tearing, chewing, sighing. Your body is not only healing, it's hungry again. You sleep early that night, not because you're weak, but because the sky feels soft, the ground cool, and for once, the dreams are good. You're in the forest, running not from anything, just for the joy of speed. You're not coughing. You're not limping. The trees part for you like old friends. When you wake, it's still dark. You step outside the cave. The stars overhead are so bright, it hurts. You take a deep breath, cold air, filling your lungs like water filling a jar. You remember the first day you felt sick, the fear, the ache, the smoke in your throat, the moss on your arm, the girl's feather in your lap. You remember the woman who didn't wake up, the man who disappeared into the trees, the way your name stopped being spoken aloud for 2 days because no one wanted to admit they thought you might die. And now, here you are, breathing under stars, full, laughing, stronger. Historians still argue whether early humans were resilient or simply lucky, whether survival was instinct or strategy. But standing here, skin cold and heart steady, you know it wasn't just luck. It was watching, learning, enduring, and healing together. You don't count the days anymore. They pass like water, now fluid, slow, familiar. Morning brings the chill that nudges you toward the fire. Noon stretches into the lazy rhythm of work and rest. Evening smells like meat moss and smoke. Night holds stars you've begun to name in your head, even if no one else knows their names. You're whole again. That's not the same as being the same. You carry the memory of sickness in your body like a song stuck in your ribs. You recognize the tilt of someone's shoulders when they're too tired to speak. You hear the fear behind a sneeze. You feel the weight of a pause in conversation when someone coughs once, then twice. And because you remember, you act differently. You hand water to the coughing man before he has to ask. You boil it first. You gather the dry moss before the healer runs out. You make the children laugh when the cave gets too quiet. The girl who was sick last week is better now, thin, pale, but moving easily. Her baby chews on bark and makes absurd noises that seem to please everyone. She's the one who starts the fire now, most mornings. Her hands are quicker than yours. Her voice steadier. You find yourself asking her if she needs anything. She always says no, but she smiles. The healer watches you both from across the cave, eyes half closed. She's always watching, always listening. You once thought she had magic in her bones. Now you know better. She has memory of sickness, of death, of survival, just like you. One evening, she gives you a charm, a small loop of fiber threaded with beads, feather, and bone. You recognize it. She placed a similar one beside the woman who passed. You look at her confused. It's for the ones who return, she says simply. You don't wear it. Not yet. But you keep it close. You help build a new lean-to by the fire pit. You teach a child how to stack stones to heat water faster. You show another how to find the moss that doesn't stink when it's wet. You used to think healing meant going back to the way things were. Now you understand it means growing around what happened. The stars shift higher in the sky. The trees lose their brightest leaves. The wind begins to bite again, and you don't fear it. You're not invincible, but you're ready. And now, as the fire inside the cave dies to a faint, sleepy glow, the world slows down. You're lying back, wrapped in fur, and memory feeling the rhythm of your breath sync with the crackling embers beside you. Outside, the wind hums like a quiet voice. Not angry, just curious. The trees whisper in response. They've seen all of this before. Your body feels heavy in the best way, like it belongs to you again. Like it's done something hard and has earned its rest. You think about all that sickness took and all it gave back differently. You don't remember the worst days clearly anymore. Just the warmth of someone handing you soup, the soft chant near your ear, the feather that felt like a promise. Your fingers twitch, once reaching for nothing, just checking. Still here, still breathing, still you. In the quiet, you realize how much was carried by the healer, by the tribe, by the fire and the moss, and the stubbornness tucked behind your ribs. And now there's peace. Not silence, but peace. Because life continues. And so do you. Sleep now. You've done enough. You've done. The world will be here when you wake. The stars will still be watching. The smoke will still remember your name. Close your eyes. Let it all drift. Let yourself go softly. You made it. You're home.